brand new video from me, Pickles Parker Reviews, and instead I will be doing a video similar to what I did last year, showing you every single thing I got for Christmas. Now, I was going to do these haul type videos for every single month, but I stopped after doing one, which was the month of May, mainly because I didn't get that much stuff in the latter half of last year, and I took the breaks in the summer, and also I just couldn't be bothered. But I thought I might start up again, and what better way to start up again than to begin with the stuff I got for Christmas this year. So yeah, let's get into it.
Now, the first thing I got for Christmas was this Amazon Echo Dot. Now, I think that these Echo Dots are really good. Actually, in the past, I have slacked them off a bit, not on this channel, but just generally I kind of thought, they're just, making people's lives easier, but they're making people lazy, why can't you just search up a song? Why do you have to, just ask it? It's all too easy, and we're getting lazier. Well, my parents got one, and I thought, actually, I thought it was really good, and really quite easier, and I became a hypocrite, and got one. Yes, is it making us lazier? Probably, but I know, I just think it is obviously easier, and it's a lot more, straightforward to use. You just ask it to play a song, and it does. You ask it to do this, it does it. I think the Echo Dots are a lot more convenient than the actual big Echoes, which are like really big, like up here. But I know I really like it, and I obviously got it in white because I'm pretty sure I said my PS4 one. I like when things come in white because it just feels a lot less the default than if it was to come in black. And I suppose also this is the newer one, so it's a lot heavier than the one that my parents have downstairs, which is the older one, and a lot bigger as well, but it has a nice speaker there as well. And yeah, it's quite cool actually. Along the theme of electronics, I got another PS4 controller. Now those of you who watched the video last year will know that I got a PS4 for Christmas last year. It obviously only came with one controller, but they're quite expensive. They're like 50 quid each, so I decided to wait out. And I wasn't sure whether I was going to get one, but I decided to get another controller, so obviously I can play with people if people come around and stuff, etc. And yeah, I got in red because I like the colour red, and I think it looks quite nice. And just comparing this new controller naturally to my old controller, which I got with the PS4, I think it works really nice. So I think I was right to get in a different colour. I was tempted to get another one in white for, consistency, because I am mad for consistency with things, but I decided to get like a red one so you could tell them apart. And yeah, I'm glad I've got another controller as well. And it was, cheaper than 40 quid, because my dad, I'm pretty sure, got a PS4 game, which you'll see in a minute, with this controller for 60 quid, which was a fairly good deal. Now here, I have the two PS4 games I got, as well as the PS4 controller. Now last year, if you remember rightly, if you watched the video, I did get Star Wars Battlefront 2, and although it wasn't in the video, I also got FIFA 18 with the Christmas money a few days later, but I obviously got it after I recorded the video. But no, this year I got FIFA 19 and Spider-Man PS4. Now, FIFA I usually get around Christmas time. I never get it when it originally comes out, because there's not that much change really on each game, especially this year, because the mode which is my favourite is career mode, and that hasn't actually got any major changes in it apart from the reskin. So I did hold out getting it, but yes, I decided to get it, and it's nice. I think the Champions League, elements to it does add something nice, although it would have been nicer to have some more improvements. FIFA was the game that my dad managed to get it and the controller for 60 quid, which was a fairly good deal. And then the second game I got was Spider-Man PS4. Now I didn't have the money when it first came out to buy it, but I'm a massive Spider-Man fan, so it was really cool to get this. And I've played it a bit, and it's a really cool game. It really is. The gameplay and graphics are fantastic, and it's just really nice to see, a whole game, a bit like the Arkham series, just dedicated to one superhero and dedicated to Spider-Man, all his villains making cameos, little bits of the Spider-Man universe that haven't been explored in films or in mainstream media, getting attention in this game, and it's really quite cool to see. Obviously, I wasn't sure whether to maybe get some other games instead of one of these two. I was tempted to get Red Dead Redemption 2, because that sounds good. or maybe, you know, Lego DC Supervillains. I did enjoy Lego Batman 3 when that came out. I have very fond memories of playing that, so I was tempted to get those, but I'm glad I got these two games. Now, most of you will know that PS4 discs are actually Blu-rays, which is why the PS4 can play Blu-ray discs. So, taking a quick segue into Blu-rays, I got this, the Infinity War Blu-ray. Now, I didn't actually buy this when it first came out on Blu-ray. I'm not really sure why. Maybe I didn't have the money at the time, but I decided to buy it now. And yeah, it does look very good on Blu-ray. It really does. And you know, Infinity War is just brilliant. It is such a good film. It's the third time I've watched it now. I watched it fairly recently for our review of it, plus all the movies I saw in 2018 that don't have reviews. A big review will be coming up in a few days, possibly just a little bit after New Year. So yeah, that's a bit of a announcement there. Infinity War will obviously be in that big review. But yeah, it's such a good film, and I'm really glad to have it, and I bought it on Blu-ray, because obviously my PS4 plays Blu-rays. It's nicer to get Blu-rays now because it's a better picture quality. I know they're just a little bit more expensive, but obviously you are paying for a better picture here. But yeah, it is really good to finally have it, you know, in hand, to have the physical, and yeah, to put it in the collection with all the others. It's really good to have. And Infinity War is just such a great movie, so yeah, it's nice to have it in the collection finally. From DVDs to CDs, I got these two Big Finish audios still in the cellophane. Now, if you remember rightly, last year I got my very first Big Finish, the 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 2, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, did reviews on those. I got numerous more Big Finish releases, the recent ones like the First Doctor Adventures, you know, the Fourth Doctor Adventures, Ravenous, Unit, Torchwood, Believe, etc. of the recent releases, all the way until like the first half of the year. I was really in a big Finish, you know, mindset. I was just buying all the audios each month as they came out, and yeah, I was just really into Big Finish. I was like, this is brilliant. And then in the second half of the year, you'll probably notice where the reviews started to drop off. Also, I took that break, and I kind of went away from Big Finish a while. I just kind of got out of the groove. I just eventually stopped listening to it a bit. Not that I don't like Big Finish, I just kind of like, you know, when you're in that big, you're like, yeah, I want to listen to some Big Finish, and you're like, yeah. And now I kind of got out of that a bit. But no, I've decided that I'm ready to get back into Big Finish again. You know, because there is still a lot of stuff I want to check out. I have a fair few downloaded on my phone, and they recently had like a Christmas sale, and these two are in there. Obviously, these are all the other ones I've kind of reviewed and I've got really are the newer releases. This is a kind of two older releases, but it's Order of the Daleks and We Are the Daleks, the 6th Doctor story and the 7th Doctor story. Both are highly recommended, two Dalek stories that, I mean, they are fairly recent in terms of Big Finish, because they're coming up next year, their 20th anniversary. 2016 and 2015 these were made, and yeah, there's some really good reviews on them, especially We Are the Daleks. That's supposed to be really good, but Order of the Daleks as well, for that glorious stained glass window Dalek, as you can see on the cover there. But yeah, it was I obviously haven't listened to either of them yet because they're both in the cellophane, but yeah, I'm really looking forward to listening to those, because these are two releases that are very highly regarded within the Doctor Who fan base. How will you listen to those CDs, you may ask? Well, I got these headphones for Christmas. Obviously, I'm always breaking my headphones, so it's nice to get these big Bluetooth headphones, which are quite nice. I have used them, and they do seem to be really good. And they seem to have a really good battery life. I've had them on for like days, and they have not run out, if they run out at all. So that's pretty good. And they do seem to, like I said, have a really good battery life. They're quite nice in like red. Don't know the company, but yeah, it was they're really nice, and they've been using me well. Like I said, a really good battery life, and the sound quality in there is very clear as well. So yeah, they'll be good to use in the future. Now, moving on to the staples of Christmas, really, the annuals. I always get an annual. I have done for absolute years, and obviously I got a fair few annuals last year, but I did cut down on it because I wanted to spend, you know, more money on other presents, and obviously, you know, I don't always read a lot of the annuals, so I cut down to just two this time, the Doctor Who annual and the Liverpool annual. the ones that have always been probably the highest ones on my list. I was tempted to get the Star Wars annual, but I just decided to, you know, keep it down to these. Both are fairly good. The Doctor Who one is thin, they have been getting thinner, and you know, they have been more aimed at children in particular. When you look at the cover design of this, people compare Jodie Whittaker and Matt Smith's Doctors, but if you look at, you know, his final annual, and you look at this Jodie Whittaker annual, even though their Doctors are both quite childish, you look at his annual, it's like dark colours and things, and it still looks much darker and more adult compared to Jodie Whittaker's annual, which looks really very much childish on the cover. I'm not really a fan of the cover, just because of how, you know, aimed at children it is, you know. I'm not saying it shouldn't be appealing to children, but it looks like it's, like with the bright colours, it's appealing to toddlers really, so I'm not really a fan of the design, but it is very thin. As I've said, they do seem to be getting very thin, and they do seem to be getting thinner. I am a fan of the content inside, and I'm much more a fan of the content inside than I have been of a lot of the Capaldi annuals, because naturally this was made before Series 11 had come out. Therefore, it was always going to be hard to put Series 11 content in there. There isn't a lot of Series 11 stuff in here, but what I really like is it really details the past, you know, 55 years of Doctor Who in this. If you're a young watcher of Doctor Who and a young watcher of Doctor Who who's only recently started, this is like one of the perfect gifts to get them, because it really details, you know, all the previous Doctors and, you know, their adventures and about them, so it really teaches them about the show, which I really am happy about, because obviously there are minimal references to the past in the series, but in this annual it references the past so much. This annual is almost just, you know, a love letter to the past, and it's not really got much new in here, so if you were just a fan of Jodie's Doctor, you know, maybe you'd possibly be a bit disappointed that all this is just detailing the Doctors of old, but I think it's nice that it, you know, details their adventures and that they're not forgotten. I much rather liked that they've done this rather than done a lot of bland generic content of just minimal things about Series 11 that aren't really about Series 11 because they couldn't give spoilers away. So I'm much happier they've gone down this route, and it certainly is nice, like I said, to try and teach, you know, younger listeners about the previous years of the show, and it's really nice that they've decided to do that. So yeah, this annual new, while it's thin on the ground, I'm not a fan of the cover, but I am a fan of the content inside. The Liverpool annual is just the Liverpool annual really. They're very similar each year, you know, they are fairly thin, but they have the same sort of content, you know, the season review, the new signings, little interviews, the player profiles and activities and etc. So it's all fairly, you know, similar, just, you know, with the new season and, you know, updating that. So, you know, there's not much really to say that I haven't already said on, you know, about the previous annual, but it is nice, and like I said, it's nice to, you know, keep these two annuals as the annuals I get, because they're the annuals I've probably read the most really. Obviously it's nice to get the Liverpool annual, especially this year, because obviously they could win the league as they're top of the table as I'm recording this on the 29th. So, you know, that's really good, and hopefully they can continue with a strong campaign. Yeah, these two annuals are good. Obviously annuals are a bit childish and they don't have the most information, which is why I cut back this year. I think maybe next year might be one of the final years that I perhaps do get annuals, if I get any this year, because they are thin on the ground, and it is better to get, you know, more informative books that have more information in them. Like these complete history books. Now, in the past, when there's been a sale on at Hatchwork Parkworks, I've got 2 lots of 5 before when they've reduced them to £5, and I've got another 5 here that I got for Christmas. I got a 4th Doctor one with the Leisure Hive, Megalos and Full Circle, the first stories of season 18, Tom Baker's final season, and the introduction of J&T, which is just interesting to read about regardless. Probably things about, you know, Tom's relationship with J&T, and, you know, also Tom's new costume and things. And also I purchased this because, as I've said in the past, I watched Full Circle and I thought it was an underrated gem. I really enjoyed Full Circle a lot, so it would be really interesting to see how that one was made as well, and some interesting things regarding that story, regarding the writer Andrew Smith, who I believe was a teenager when he wrote it. Now, the second is a Sixth Doctor one, the final Sixth Doctor Complete History, and my previous one was with his first stories. Now it's with his last stories, the whole of the Trial of a Time Lord season. Now this is interesting to read just because, you know, all stories are connected with this Trial of a Time Lord arc, and also the hiatus and Colin Baker leaving, so it'll be all interested to see, you know, what's said in that one. Next is a Seventh Doctor one detailing his first stories, Time in the Rani, Paradise Towers and Delta and the Bannerman. All stories that don't particularly get a lot of love from fandom, a series that don't particularly get a lot of love from fandom. You know, it is a bit campy, yes, a bit silly, but I think it's one that you can just flick on and you can just enjoy. I haven't seen Delta and the Bannerman, but I have seen Time of and the Rani and Paradise Towers, and I think Time in the Rani, yeah, it's not great. Paradise Towers I actually quite enjoyed, so it'll be interesting to see, you know, the casting of Sylve and you know, the stories at the time with Pip and Jane Baker and things. The next one is the Ninth Doctor. Now, I haven't got a Ninth Doctor one so far, so it's nice to get one of him featuring aliens in London World War III, Dalek, The Long Game and Father's Day. I got this one mainly because I wanted to see, you know, the bits about the Daleks coming back and things like that. And finally, there's a 11th Doctor one. Pretty sure I've got an 11th Doctor one every single time, and I've also, you know, picked up a couple of 11th Doctor ones on their own. The first ever Complete History I got was an 11th Doctor one, and one that I also picked up with, you know, the Crimson Horror, Nightmare and Silver and the Name of the Doctor, which you wouldn't have known about. I picked that up in Forbidden Planet a few months ago. That was an 11th Doctor one as well, so I've got a fair few 11th Doctor ones, but that's because he's my favourite Doctor. And I decided to get this one detailing the Angels Take Manhattan, the Snowmen and the Bells of St. John. I suppose this kind of ties in with the whole annuals thing. I got the Liverpool calendar. Now, last year I got the Doctor Who calendar. I kind of alternate. One year I got a Liverpool calendar, the next year I get a Doctor Who calendar. I got the Liverpool calendar a couple of years ago. Obviously I didn't do have the channel where I got it for Christmas, so obviously you probably didn't see it then, but in the Christmas video a couple of years ago you may have seen it. It was on the door. But no, I got this one this year. I didn't actually get a calendar. I didn't actually put one, you know, I didn't plan to get one because I mainly looked at the Doctor Who calendar. They released 2 this year, but I wasn't really a fan of either. But then my granddad got me this, so I was kind of glad, really, because I didn't really plan to get the any of the Doctor Who ones, because I didn't really think they're that great. Looking at the back, there's been a few odd choices with the people on this calendar. I'm glad Salah's in April because, yeah, as you all know, that is the month of my birthday, so that's quite nice. There's been a few odd people that haven't been included, people like Joe Gomez, you know, Juan Yildirim, he's not on there, and people like that, but yeah, it's a nice calendar, and I'm glad I've got it. Now, people who watched the video last year will definitely know that I got a lot of Funko Pops last year, and I got a fair few this year. Obviously, not as many as I got last year, of course, because I got absolutely loads last year, but I still got a fair few this year. I got the Thanos one from Infinity War. I've been wanting that one for a fair bit, so it's nice to finally get that one. I got a couple of Batman the TV series, you know, the 60s Batman series. Not a series I've actually seen, although I've seen clips, but, you know, the Funko Pops look very nice, and obviously the characters in it, they look very camp and retro, which works really well for a Funko Pop. So I got the Penguin and Mr. Freeze, two that I thought looked quite nice. And I got Aquaman because obviously it's the Justice League one, because I've obviously got 3 Justice League ones, Superman, Batman and The Flash, and I thought it would be nice to, you know, keep in with that to try and get the whole set, even though it's over a year that Justice League came out. I decided to go for Aquaman because obviously Aquaman has just come out, and it's a fairly good film, I must say. And then finally I got the Kylo Ren one. Yes, the last year has been out for over a year now, but I've still wanted this Kylo Ren. I was going to try and get the mass one, but like I said, I do believe in my Luke review ages ago now. But yeah, I couldn't come across it, and my sister got me this one, and I thought it was quite nice. And also it comes with a lightsaber, so the mass one didn't. So yeah, I'm glad that I've got these Funko Pops, more to add to the collection and more to put in the recent glass cabinet that I recently
acquired. Obviously no Doctor Who Funko Pops this year. I got the first Doctor one last year, none this year. That is because they were very hard to get. Minimal Doctor Who Funko Pops this year. The one I did want was the 13th Doctor, but the one in the coat, which is the really good one, you know, that I don't even think that's coming to the country, which is really annoying, really, because it's annoying because, you know, Doctor Who is a British show, and when, like, the best things from New York Comic Con, they don't come over here, it's a bit like, really. And, you know, even the you know, one without the coat, which isn't as good, that was out of stock on Amazon, so I decided to just leave it, really. But I am glad with these Funko Pops which I've got. I'm really looking forward to putting them in the cabinet. The penultimate thing I got now was this watch. Now, I did actually lose my watch very recently, and it broke, which is why it hasn't probably featured in my videos on my wrist. But no, I got this new watch while my parents did, and I think it's really nice. It definitely looks a lot, you know, smarter than my previous watch, which was plastic and black, but this is like a shiny and silver, and it's quite big and heavy, actually. If I put my wrist there, it's like that. So yeah, it's really nice, and obviously it's got you know, analog and digital on it. Thank God it's got digital, because I'm useless at telling the time. But yeah, it's really nice, and it's I look forward to wearing it. And the final thing I got was this Liverpool shirt, the new Liverpool home shirt. Now, I've been trying to track this down for a while, but in a lot of places they just don't do it in an extra small. But yeah, it was really nice to get this. It was my favourite out of the 3 they released. Even though I did get the home shirt last year, I do like to get, you know, alternate between the home and away, or the third shirt, depending on which design's nicest. But I did like this one, especially when it has the collar and stuff. And, you know, I was really glad to finally get it, especially at a time when Liverpool are doing very well in the league. So, overall, I'm very happy with every single thing I got. Obviously, it was probably a little bit less than last year, but that's obviously because I got a few more things that cost a bit more this year, and obviously the PS4 last year was kind of out of some of the money that I would have got for my birthday. So yeah, that's probably why it probably looks like I got a bit more last year. But I'm very happy with every single thing I got. Obviously there's a few things I didn't show you, like clothes, chocolates, a couple bits of face stuff, which, you know, that's just not really interesting. But yeah, this is everything I've got, and I'm very happy with it all. Thank you guys for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like and drop a sub and hit that notification bell. I'll be doing more videos, so, you know, stay tuned for all of those, especially a review of all the movies I watched this year coming very soon. Thank you guys for watching, and of course, goodbye.